Live from the CBS Broadcast Center in Philadelphia, this is CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
Well, it's wet but warm for this time of year. You'll need your umbrella today as you slosh around in the rain. Storm Scan 3 is tracking the rain. Look at all of that green. We're in for a very soggy day. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jim Donovan.
That's so descriptive, sloshing
around.
Well,
it is. It's a mess.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rahel Solomon. So the question is, of course, how long will that wet weather stick around? Meteorologist Katie Falinger is timing it all out in the CBS 3 Weather Center. Hi, Katie.
Hey, guys. Yeah, you know, this is what started off as a somewhat innocent beginning to the day. Early this morning, it was granted a little bit of poor visibility, some fog issues, a little bit of fine mist, but now you've got this mess over my shoulder. Let's take that full screen in a second, but I do want to show you just a very telltale camera shot for you here. This is actually from our very own rooftop here in the Spring Garden section of Philadelphia. The raindrops on the camera lens. It's a very poor visibility kind of a day. And, you know, if we were behind a windshield in a car, we'd be flicking those windshield wipers, as I'm sure all the traffic there at Spring Garden and Broad Street intersection there, they're all doing the same because the rain continues to fall. And there it is on Storm Scan. This is a 3-hour loop we're looking at. So it's been with us now for many hours, and we've already seen several tenths of an inch. We're going to talk more about some of the rainfall totals so far a little later on in the show, but this rain continues to, granted, come through pretty steadily, but you're going to find the steadiest of this rain through the next couple of hours. I'd say up until about 4 o'clock. So the kids are getting out of school for this first day back from the holiday in many districts, and hopefully you sent them out the door with an umbrella. Scattered showers continue to be with us even after 4 o'clock, and into the overnight, it's fog and drizzle, but we eventually do clear out. It's just going to take a while. 45 the current temperature. Meanwhile, in Philadelphia, we're at 50 apiece, both Millville and Atlantic City. However, we are expecting to see another drop on the thermometer in the days ahead. So enjoy, I guess you could say, enjoy what is quote unquote a warm afternoon for now. Although that rain and the clouds and also the breeze makes it feel awfully chilly. We are really getting set for an Arctic invasion later on in this forecast. I'll tell you exactly when just a bit later on.
All right, Katie, we'll see you then. Thank you. A home invasion suspect is dead, another on the run, while a father fights for his life after a frightening gunfight inside his Frankfort home. Eyewitness News reporter Trang Do shows us a neighborhood shaken by the violence.
Shattered glass on the porch of a Frankfort home are the remnants of a wild and terrifying night for a family of 6. A gun battle in their own living room, leaving an intruder dead, a father of 4 little girls seriously hurt, and people who live on the block stunned.
When you hear loud bangs like that, you know, you just get alert and, you know, you look out the window, see if everyone's safe out there, see what's going on basically. And it was disturbing. Police say the family just returned home to the 1900 block of Pratt Street around 11 Monday night. There was a knock on the door and 2 men forced their way in.
There was a struggle between the 27-year-old homeowner and these 2 males, and one of the perpetrators did shoot the homeowner 2 times in his mouth and his leg. Chief Inspector Scott Small says the homeowner then returned fire, fatally shooting one of the men in the head. The other ran off. This violence unfolding while the man's wife and 4 young daughters, ages 4, 3, 1, and 5 months, were upstairs getting ready for bed. We're still very fortunate that his wife nor any of his 4 children were struck by gunfire or injured in any way.
I know if somebody come in my house, I'm going to protect my family to the fullest. That's all I can say.
Neighbors say they're baffled as to why the quiet family man they know as Ruben was targeted in the first place.
He's a great, quiet guy, quiet. Goes to work, comes home, brings his family. Every morning I see him, he takes his children to school. I greet him in the morning, that's about it. At last check, the homeowner was in serious condition at Hahnemann Hospital. Meanwhile, police are hoping surveillance cameras on this block will help them ID that second suspect. In Frankfort, I'm Trang Do, CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
And within the hour, police released new details. They say in addition to removing 11 shell casings from inside that Pratt Street home, authorities say they also removed a substantial amount of marijuana.
In other news this noon, a Philadelphia police officer is under investigation after a video surfaces on social media showing the officer throwing a teenage girl to the ground and striking her several times. Take a look at this video posted on Instagram. Police say the confrontation began while officers tried to break up a large fight in southwest Philadelphia on Monday. Police Police tell Eyewitness News that the teen admitted slapping the female officer before the officer threw the girl to the ground, but that moment was not recorded. The teen is facing several charges, including assault on a police officer. The officer was pulled from the street pending the conclusion of an internal affairs investigation. Meanwhile, a brazen robbery in Somerton early yesterday morning. Surveillance video shows a man and a woman entering the Wawa on Bustleton and Philmont Avenues around 5:30. Police say the woman filled a large trash bag with cigarettes while the man, armed with a hammer, smashed several cash registers. The two made off with an unknown amount of cigarettes. Anyone with information is asked to call police.
Police in Glassboro, Gloucester County have a suspect in custody in connection with a Peeping Tom incident last month. 32-year-old Darnell Howard of Vineland is charged with peering into a residence on Pomona Avenue early on December 28th. The suspect was captured on home security cameras. Police say the members of the community who saw the department's Facebook post tipped them off to the suspect. Police are investigating a deadly accident last night in Montgomery County. The unidentified woman was hit at about 7:30 on Ridge Road, that's near Northwestern Avenue in Springfield Township. The driver involved in the accident did remain on the scene and is cooperating with investigators. Meanwhile, police believe this maroon pickup truck hit a bicyclist on Tennis Avenue in Bensalem, Bucks County Sunday morning, but did not stop. The bicyclist suffered serious injuries and was found by another driver. Police are now looking for the maroon Chevy pickup, which has damage to the passenger side door and is missing its passenger side mirror.
Well, overnight raids led to a dozen more arrests in Turkey as the search intensifies for the nightclub terror suspect. Correspondent Jonathan Vigliotti is in Istanbul
with a look at newly released video at the suspected killer and the latest on the investigation.
The clearest image we have of the alleged nightclub attacker comes from this selfie video walking the streets of Istanbul. It's unclear when it was taken or how it was found. Turkish media say it was leaked by investigators. Last night, they raided an apartment near the airport. They were led to the area by a taxi driver. This video, being run by Turkish media, reportedly shows the shooter getting out of a cab after the attack on Club Reyna early Sunday morning. ISIS, who claim responsibility for the attack, said he was avenging Turkey's role in Syria's bloody civil war. It's unclear if the gunman was directed or inspired by the militant group. An ISIS statement said the club was targeted because it was where, quote, Christians celebrate their pagan holiday. About 600 people were inside the club ringing in the new year. An hour later, the gunman struck the venue. In just 7 minutes, he killed 39 people before slipping away in the chaos. Heavily armed officers evacuated clubgoers, some with bloodstains on their clothes.
These crazy people came in shooting everywhere.
William Jacob Brock of Delaware was among the nearly 70 injured. He was shot in the leg, but well enough to return to the U.S. on Monday. Police say the gunman acted alone, but at least 14 people have been detained for questioning.
As the massive manhunt continues today, ISIS sympathizers have gone online this morning saying the attacker made his way into ISIS territory. Jonathan Vigliotti, CBS News, Istanbul, Turkey.
Well, the new year brings with it a new Congress and some newly elected lawmakers on Capitol Hill. Let's take a live look now as members of the 115th Congress take the oath of office. House Republicans already got a head start on their agenda last night. They voted to gut the Office of Congressional Ethics, or the OCE. That's an independent office that investigates claims of misconduct by lawmakers. The full House will vote on the measure later today.
Well, as Inauguration Day ticks a bit closer, President-elect Trump will be given more intelligence about Russian involvement in the U.S. election today. And Vice President-elect Mike Pence says another cabinet announcement may be made in the coming days. Meanwhile, following a Trump tweet that suggested that GM should face fines for not making the Chevy Cruze in the U.S., GM is firing back. In a statement to CNBC, the company said all of the Chevy Cruze sedans are made in a plant in Ohio. Well, it's not a happy day in Happy Valley.
Not at all. Penn State, of course, coming up short in the Rose Bowl. The Nittany Lions took the lead against USC even in the third quarter. Quarterback Trace McSorley passed to Saquon Barkley for a 7-yard touchdown. You see it there. Well, that put Penn State ahead 49-35, but the Trojans came back to tie it in the fourth quarter. As time expired, Matt Bormeister broke the tie with a 46-yard field goal. Penn State's season ends with a heartbreaking loss to USC, 52-49.
Well, the Rose Bowl was also a nail-biter for Penn State alumni. Members of the Delaware County Alumni Chapter held a Rose Bowl watch party at Maggie O'Neill's in Drexel Hill. There were cheers every time the Nittany Lions scored. The ending, obviously, however, was not what they expected.
It is infectious. You know, you start there as a freshman and you just kind of get that spirit going and it doesn't stop. As an alum, you stay active and you just keep enjoying it.
Well, regardless of the final score, Penn State alums still say it was a great season for the Nittany Lions. Well, coming up, a mother releases disturbing video hoping that other parents will see it and take action.
It's an incredible video. Watch as a dresser tips over onto a little boy as he and his twin are playing in their room. Now, both boys are okay, but up next, see that twin actually lift the dresser off of his brother.
Plus, the new year gets off to a destructive start as deadly storms rip across parts of the country. We'll tell you where residents are picking up the pieces today. You're watching Eyewitness News at noon. Stay with us.
Welcome back. This viral video of twin toddlers climbing a dresser that eventually topples to the ground could save a life.
A bedroom camera captured the moment when one of the boys became trapped. After the furniture falls, one of the twins appears to push and slide the dresser off of his brother, who became trapped underneath. Now their Utah parents hope the video acts as a reminder for families to secure furniture to the wall.
I can do this one thing to make my home a little bit more safe for my children.
Now, fortunately, both boys are okay. Tonight at 6, a safety expert will show you how to safely bolt your furniture to the wall.
Well, communities across the Gulf Coast states are cleaning up after deadly storms move through the area. CBS News correspondent Omar Villafranca reports from Rehoboth, Alabama, where 4 people inside a mobile home were killed.
A fast-moving storm drenched the Gulf Coast, bringing heavy rain, floods, and possible tornadoes. 4 people were killed in Rehoboth, Alabama last night when a reported tornado caused a tree to fall on a home. About 150 miles west of there, flash flooding stranded cars in Jackson, Alabama.
This is a prime example as to why not be out.
Volunteers helped clean up broken glass and boarded up windows at this Subway sandwich shop.
It made like a noise, like a streaking noise, like something like that, and it just boom.
In another part of the city, strong winds ripped a pair of massive trees from the ground.
It hit the house, the whole house shook, and the roof stopped.
The Alabama Gulf Coast Zoo had to evacuate its animals after the force of the storm tore the enclosures apart.
Our perimeter fence, part of that, about 30 feet of that has been taken down, and it has disappeared. It has gone away.
In Mount Olive, Mississippi, semi-trucks were toppled, homes were shredded, and power lines were snapped.
I am definitely not going out in this one.
Pounding rain in the Florida Panhandle was coupled with dangerous lightning, knocking down trees and damaging homes. Schools are closed here today in Rehoboth as the cleanup begins. The storm has moved east, but the main concern now is some possible residual flooding. Omar Villafranca, CBS News, Rehoboth, Alabama.
Well, as we just showed you, weather conditions are dangerous in other parts of the country today.
Still ahead on Eyewitness News, the 1-2 punch. See where drivers are dealing not only with a snowstorm, but wicked winds as well. Katie.
And guys, the system that brought that snow is actually headed our way and helping to usher in some very cold conditions, which will linger this weekend with temperatures near or right around freezing all weekend long. Despite some sunshine, you will have to bundle up, especially since the winds are also expected to pick up as well. Say that we're coming right back with your full forecast.
Well, take a look at all that snow. More snow is exactly what residents in North Dakota don't need. This is the fourth major storm to hit the state this winter. Now, right now, the city of Fargo is under a no travel advisory after 9 inches of snow fell. Another 4 inches are expected today. Wind chills there are in the negative teens.
Meanwhile, in Minnesota, heavy snow, whiteout conditions, and wind gusts of up to 39 miles per hour are making traveling very dangerous there. Officials say there are numerous reports of people being stuck out on the roads. A no travel is advised in all of northwestern Minnesota.
Well, Katie, I mean, I feel like after all of that, what
well,
you have to say
is
a beautiful, dreary, gray, rainy day. Yeah,
and
but
we'll
our
take it.
Temperature around 50 degrees, I suppose we will take that. Yeah, it's definitely not a snowstorm here. It's just too warm for that, but it is a dreary day. And you know, it's interesting. We're starting this year off on a relatively wet note. The first three, 2 out of the first 3 days have actually featured some pretty decent rain. So we'll talk about some of those numbers here in a second. But let's walk you out first to Storm Scan and show you what's happening at the much wider zoom. You talk about that snow in the Dakotas and Minnesota, and And actually, that same system is going to drag a front through our area, bring with it some Arctic air in the next couple of days. So we are going to see a drastic cool down. And in the meantime, though, this is the same system that brought the severe weather in the deep south. So frankly, a glancing blow from both of these for our area, as it is at least, comparatively speaking, to some of the other parts of the country. But we do still have this rain to contend with basically for the rest of the day. Now, let's talk about the rain amounts. This is just so far a very short list of what we found. It's not much, but a couple tenths of an inch here and there in Woodbine. You're just shy of a quarter of an inch. Same deal in Pottstown. But again, this has been a relatively wet start to the year 2017 after coming off of a year worth of deficits in terms of rainfall in a lot of spots. And over the course of the next few hours, we may tack a few additional tenths of an inch here onto the total for the day as a whole. So, we may end up with upwards of at least a half to maybe as much as an inch worth of rain before it's all said and done. And when you stack that up against the deficit that we did face in the year 2016, remember this is for the whole year, but in Philadelphia, we are over 6 inches shy of where we should be. We're already in the month of January over a half an inch into that. So it definitely, just looking at it from the comparative standpoint, is off to a much better start in that regard. Maybe we'll have a chance to catch up a little bit here. We do still technically, though, sit in a drought in a lot of our area. Cold blast is coming, though. We talked about that cold front that's back over the Dakota, Minnesota area. That is going to be rolling in here tomorrow night. So before it crosses, you're back in the 50s. Tomorrow actually looks like a pretty decent day. We get some sun. We're back in the 50s for January. We'll take it. But a nice rude awakening comes our way behind that come Thursday. It's brisk. It's colder. You're back in the 30s. And there is a disturbance that's going to come awfully close, bringing just a dusting, we think, of snow on Friday. The bulk of that energy is off to our south, but you're stuck in the 30s. So it's going to be cold enough, no matter where you are, to support a little bit of snowfall on Friday. Some of you wishing for that. I know our own Pat Gallen is wishing for that, so he'll be very happy come Friday. However, we take a look at our live neighborhood network. This is just a dreary start to the afternoon. 36 degrees, chilly granted. I don't think you have to worry about any kind of icing, even out in these most remote suburbs. It's just a chilly rain-producing system, but it's going to continue to be with us through the next couple of hours. A well-defined back edge to it come later this afternoon. But you're stuck with fog and a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, so it's going to lead to some additional drizzle maybe even as we head into the overnight. I do think that will clear out with time, however, so really the worst is what we're sitting in the midst of for the next couple of hours. By the time we hit the typical PM rush hours, scattered showers, fog, drizzle, ponding, road spray, nuisance issues, but enough that it will absolutely slow you down, so please use caution. We always tell you that. I know we start to sound like broken records after a time, but it bears repeating. Now, as I mentioned, tomorrow, still a pretty mild day, and as the sun returns for one day, it's looking good. And actually, it'll continue to return on Thursday. It's just a heck of a lot colder. You go from the 50s to the 30s in one fell swoop, so make sure you've got your really heavy coat ready to go. Look at this, guys. We barely reach above the freezing mark for the entire weekend and even into next week. So enjoy the 50s while you've got them, really.
You want to take the pups to the dog park tomorrow, apparently.
Yeah, that would be great. Great way to spend the day outside.
Listen, it's winter time, so nothing phases me at this point. Thank you, Katie. Well, some who live near the Vatican aren't loving the latest business to pop up close to St. Peter's Square. Oh my, a new McDonald's is serving burgers just steps away from where the Pope appears for his Sunday blessing. The fast food chain officially opened for business there on December 31st. Local restaurant owners fear the chain will take away their business as tourists flock to the area.
I don't know how I feel about that because I studied abroad in Rome, and there were all types of fast food restaurants not far from where
you just need a McNugget fix, right?
to go with, mass.
All right. Well, after the break, what you can do with that fruit cake that you still haven't eaten.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Exciting stuff coming up. Well, if you received a fruitcake over the holidays and you don't know what to do with it, here's an idea.
Just go outside and throw it as far as you can because it is National Fruitcake Toss Day. The holiday appears to have its origins in Colorado Springs, where people toss fruitcakes around this time each year using throwing machines. It's kind of like pumpkin chunking. Just make sure no one is in the line of fire.
Well, on that note, that is Eyewitness News at noon. I'm Jim Donovan.
And I'm Rahel Solomon for Katie and all of us here. Thanks for watching.
Eyewitness News continues at 5. We're always online at cbsphilly.com.
Young and the Restless is next. Got it in.